and they're working to improve in those strides specifically. And we have the battleground for the next game, so let's see where we'll be going, what Even in Death wanted to choose. They did choose Battleground and Dragonshire.
Dragonshire over Tomb, but again, if we make it to the next game, then in Roll20, or excuse me, Even in Death chooses the map, very likely we find ourselves on Tomb. But I like Dragon. It's my favorite map personally.
Really?
It is.
I did not know that.
It is my, if I had to choose a map, I think Dragonshire is the best. It requires the perfect balance of everybody having their lanes really matter, but then also being able to team fight, right? Like it's now suddenly I have to consider every 1v1, every 2v2. I need every single member on my team to make a smart choice at some point in the game. I'm going to rely on them to be very bright. And then it also forces us to be good at team fighting, and like you can win through all dynamics, and that's why I really adore the map.
Well, Dragonshire is a place where we could see Roll20's Medivh emerge. So be on the lookout for that. Teams potentially going to be fighting over Dahaka here too. Even in Death likes Dahaka, but only on certain battlegrounds specifically do we see them draft him there, and Dragonshire is one of them where they like him.
I want to know if we're going to see a false set in this game. That's what I'm really looking for. That's what, the one hero I want to know is mainly I expect Even in Death to be the team. I would be real surprised if we see it on the side of Roll20. Then I'll just be like, if I see it from Roll20, I'm convinced that false is a thing in all North American teams. But if Even in Death wants to pick that up, because they've shown they are considering it, along with some of the 2 to 3 teams in North America that like the hero, and it's a map that you can make the argument for it. So does it still show in relevance even on a map like Dragonshire for Even in Death or not? Meanwhile, they're debating to Genji or not to Genji. Gilly, this is the question.
They have every other game on Dragonshire so far in Phase 1. Phase 2. Phase 1, they weren't here yet.
Sad days.
If not Genji, what's the fear?
I don't know, man. At this point, I'm just thinking of hero memes with Romeo and Juliet. You know, that's all I'm a hero by any other name would still smell as sweet, like stuff like that. That's all I got going up here. I'm sorry.
Anubarak, wherefore art thou, Anubarak?
Yes. He found him! We got the Genji! Oh!
Why are you so excited about that?
We went 58 seconds to get the ban that we assumed. You know, it was more satire attempt, I guess, there. What are we going to see for Roll20? What is the first pick? Is it the Dahaka? Gilly, you are a wizard. It's the Dahaka. He's coming in. He's going to be in the top lane. Goku, though, is somebody to be looking out for. Probably, in my opinion, best Dahaka in A. Only close to him would be Yoda, which, sad days, was the swap there. And look at that. I did not.
You're also a wizard. We're both wizards. I'm a Hufflepuff. What are you?
I don't know those words. Again, I'm not a Harry Potter nerd.
You've disappointed me.
I'm actually the worst nerd. I got into
You're such a Slytherin.
like being a nerd in like a very weird way. I was one of those loser console plebs for too long. So where all those kind of weird things, I was like, I'd rather just shoot kids in my, playing Halo all day or something.
So global versus global. Dahaka versus Falstad. Even in Death, Falstad's just climbing the ranks this weekend. It is interesting.
Somehow I feel like he's going to be humbled, though. I'm not. Falstad's got a spot. It's just to be that high up is very surprising. It means that the reason why I'm afraid is because Falstad that high up, already when we saw it that high up when Falstad was a thing, that usually meant we had a poor laning setup from the team who drafted it. A team like Even in Death, this youthful, and in a meta where Falstad usually doesn't thrive that well. I just feel like, when's the Panic Zeratul will get picked up? You know, that's kind of like, I know it's not going to, at least for Even in Death, I assume that they won't, but that's how I feel when I see it that high up. It's just like, I'm ready for the poor laning matchup because that is almost 100% going to happen now that we see Falstad pick, because our teams don't value laning setups very highly on Dragonshire. Some don't, at least.
Dread.
Hit me with it.
Roll20 got a Dahaka. They had everything set up so that they could have a Medivh composition, and they are willingly not going into it.
Tread lightly.
Stitches. I thought it would be Stitches Li Ming. They made that rotation before. Follow up, have their Medivh for Glau.
Think about it. They're still going to do it.
There is no way.
I'm memeing you real hard. But
there is no way. 0% chance.
Okay, here's the new strategy they've come up with, okay? So between Stitch's hook and all the ability to hook it on the other side, then you go, Prismat is going to be on the task. He's got Force Walls left and right. And then once you finish the first target with the force wall after the hook, then you portal past it, you walk in, you gorge them, bring them back. Be like double value on the force wall. Think about it.
And then they'll be like, okay, thank you. I did not take
you have no damage, so I'm still alive on the other side of this force wall. Thanks, nerd. Yeah, you're right.
That was a really fun chase we just did. Let's do it again in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and, or 16 seconds. I guess technically gorge is too big of a cooldown. You're right.
Ooh, Malfurion Malthael. That won't be difficult in the cast at all with those two close names. But in all honesty,
Malthaelian?
I'm so excited for more Malthael.
And it's got to be what? Do we have the Ariel there? Surprise! We've got another Ariel Tassadar Vala.
Double Warrior, double support, Vala Dream on Dragonshire.
There's no resets left that are overly good. Like Li Ming is about the only thing left, right?
Greymane?
Could go Greymane, but I think, what do you have? You have Malthael as your solo Falstad for the pick potential. You just need a bit of wave clear into your 4 and make sure that doesn't struggle. Malfurion hopefully moves into Moonfire, so you're going to be okay there. It really can just be about anything because they have, luckily, a laning not a laning mismatch the way I was afraid that they would see, and having the Falstad nice. I think I like Greymane the most, but yeah. I'm afraid to say it because I feel like it's going to be something way different than that.
It was.
Somehow, I just feel it in my gut. Sometimes I don't have a reason, I don't have logic, but I'm just like, this is not going to be anywhere near what I expect. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I get into Zebo.
Well, let's break it down. We've got Malthael for the top lane. We've got Nazebo to stall things out as best he can with his zombie wall, stalling out the waves of minions. The whole team really trying to stall things out until Nazebo hits his spike later on. But Roll20 have the Vala Ariel Tassadar to apply damage to structures, push down structures. They have the tools that they need to try to get ahead that big early advantage against the Nazebo.
Yeah, and that already goes, all right, Even in Death, you're praying for the late game. Then when I look at the team fight phase of Even in Death, I go, okay, so who's actually going to be the one killing things here? I would like to raise your hand, please, because Nazebo's going to whittle away, Malthael will whittle away, and Falstad is not the hero known for being able to secure kills on the back line whenever they're running away with no HP. So it's either a Gust into Dream with Malthael one-shot, or I'm going to be honest, I'd rather see him take Hinterland's Blast. Like, I'm sick of seeing double poison comps that can't kill anything. I might be wrong. Nazebo might scale enough post-16.
You've got Malthael sitting there, and then all of a sudden a giant spirit drops down on top of you.
Actually, I know you sound like you're memeing right now, but this is a double warrior that you could totally get away from it, because Stitches and Dahaka both have hard CCs to interrupt Ravenous Spirit, but the reason why both of those are the worst warriors is you self-zombie wall. For anybody who hasn't figured out that trick yet, you aren't a Nazebo main, please learn this one. Into a Stitches specifically, you just drop the self-zombie wall, and then Stitches the whole time goes, well, I can't do anything with this guy. He's going to get a full channel. Yep. And it's a really cool play, and Dahaka conveniently has the same problem. Kinda, he's got a little bit of W and a fast movement speed. He slightly breaks the rules, but I just want somebody to confirm a kill. And I don't know if Nazebo scales hard enough to make that happen. He may, 20 he definitely does, right? But again, you can't rely on a strategy for the 20 mark. And so who's going to get the kills in the 11, 12, 13, 14 level range? Before the 16th marks hit, who actually can lock anything down? And I feel like the answer is going to be Roll20 just slowly walking away with their double support because nobody's got the damages.
Well, let's see if Even in Death has the answer for Roll20. We'll get a victory in game number 2. Let's go to the Dragonshire. Look at those angry clouds. Why are we so angry?
He's gritting his teeth because he's got a toothache. That's why he was gritting it, is because he wasn't actually frustrated. He was just trying to ease his own pain.
Oh, it's not angry cloud. It's toothache cloud.
It's toothache cloud. You should get him a toothbrush. They would feel much better, Gilly.
This mount's on its way to toothache cloud, but not quite there yet. There's general discomfort.
I didn't even
Cloud.
think about that. We have a genuine survey option through our cloud mounts.
Yeah.
Like you can go, are you satisfied with this product? And the answer is like quivering, like bottom lip right there, which is I'm about to break. One step away, you have the very sad toothache Cloud that we see Homicidal representing over there.
We've got some talents we've got to talk about, namely Wingman.
Wingman, hey, what's up? Okay, so where to start? You just want the flood? Just the flood, okay. So,
I'm nodding my head vigorously.
Wingman has more of an argument on a map like Dragonshire more than any other, and so I'm not surprised to see it pop up here. My concern with it, though, is going to be that forces a 2-1-2 on the side of Even and Death, which they are executing properly, having the Malthael be up on top and the False Head there as well. It essentially allows you to back out, take the camp, get the pressure in a amount of time that you normally wouldn't be able to, and it makes your laning phase where you're normally like, man, I can't win this 1v1. You're like, at least I can make up for it in Merc pressure. I think it's just going to be very important that Even in Death cycles Malthael up to top permanently. Like, I'm very already sad that they keep him in a lane, and I can see the argument of making that happen, but committing with a 4, getting that a little bit more, and then using those Wingman sacks, because you get them faster. What this does now is the awkward laning phase I was referring to with the Falstad pick suddenly has embodied itself because they're opting to be the solo lane Falstad, though Malthael is in fact a thing.
Well, Malthael can rotate, but he will be able to help that Falstad out a lot. And here in the bottom lane, even though there's not Moonburn, Frozen Axe, like I said earlier in the drafting phase, can stall out minion waves just like this with the zombie wall, and Hao can also do that with his Roots and Malfurion. So they can try to slow down the 3-man. The problem is just that Vala, Ariel, and Tassadar can just go forever and ever and ever.
You know what the silver lining is here, Lil Gilly?
What's that, Dread?
That at least when he takes Hinterland's Blast, he didn't lose synergy with his level 1. That's the most important thing here.
Is it a full Lightning Rod build, though? Are we going for charged up Thunder Strikes?
I respect your ability to get a little wild with it here, but you might have gone too far down the rabbit hole. You know what? Maybe. I just don't think there's a single world where I ever go, what about full Lightning Rod build? I'll get wild with the, going with the Hinterlands.
We've got the Static Shield at least.
That is a standard talent. Calm down.
Don't kill my dreams. This Malthael build, I want to talk about this because actually there was an article posted on the Heroes of the Storm website, if you guys missed it. It was with Yoda talking about the changes that came in with the Balance patch currently, and the adjustments that Yoda's made in his build, and it includes this Throwing Shade. So Throwing Shade got buffed. It increases the range once you hit 20 heroes with Death Shroud by 33%. And importantly, it reduces its cooldown by 4 seconds. Also, it reduces mana cost, but the cooldown reduction is huge because you have such good uptime with your Death Shroud being able to throw that out. And with that, too, you can maybe even take Final Curtain at 20. We'll see if that's still the pick. Sometimes you have to take No One Can Stop Death just because you are forced into making sure that you can respawn if it's a dire time. But we'll be watching those stacks for you and see if more talents follow along with the same build that Yoda was talking about. But definitely check out that article on our website, playheroes.com/esports.
Shout out to Yoda for putting that one together.
Heck yeah.
It's got a lot of cool synergies too with the level 1. And just mainly his W setup, because your E is the most realistic thing to enable your passive other than being auto attack range. Suddenly it enables like kind of these later stage fights. They aren't 100%, but they can, sometimes your cooldowns align to be like an Illidan. Your chase is actually kind of gross suddenly because the CDR, you're like, wow, I've got 1 kill and my ult's down, but look, I have another E to dish out. I've got ability to get the teleport in. Lutano tried, but then got the Detainment Strike. Nice pressure onto Buds, but Homicidal doesn't have enough to get a kill, and actually Glarong last second hot pursued away from the shade there.
Hook yanks Homicidal back into the fight. He will be the first blood of this game. But man, I gotta shout out Buds. That Detainment Strike as soon as the flight came in, not letting Falstad try to put more damage in. Still went for Boomerang, by the way. Now I'm sad.
Hinterlands is always an option, Gilly, okay? I'm just saying.
Still believe you know what else is.
There is no
Ravenous Spirit.
It's gonna happen. This is the game. I mean, Ravenous Spirit used to be so strong. It wasn't until the nerf to his passive became a thing. Ravenous Spirit on its own got nerfed as well, but it was like Ravenous Spirit is only realistic now post 20, and
right,
even then...
and you can't take that
Yeah.
because you kind of need Vile Infection.
Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle with the rework there, and then Nazebo received long and go. Do you ever feel like because you're just a loser who's been talking, studying, and playing Heroes of the Storm since the beginning of time, that when we refer to old school builds that you're just leaving everybody in the dust and they go, wait, Nazebo used to be different than this? Like, I feel like half the time I talk about old Ravenous Spirit meta, homicidal cut out there, everybody's like, yeah, okay, nice meme. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, it used to be the best ult in the whole game. He used to eat whole teams the minute it dropped.
No, I love reminiscing about the old days of Heroes of the Storm, the busted days in some senses of the word. Once again, Even in Death finds themselves down crucial talent tiers, or down a lot in experience. A full level as Roll20 pick up their heroic abilities. Gorge once again for justing. Everything else as you would expect for these heroes with another force wall.
I feel like, again, a lot of this early game came down to Even in Death being Falstad is the placeholder and Malthael's the roamer. It should be the other way around, and if they did that, they would be a lot more successful into the early parts of this laning phase. But Roll20 is just flat punishing everything that they are doing.
Yeah, I love they are not so desperate to get the Dragonite with heroics. You know, they have these giants in the bottom, and if Even in Death are going to keep 2 members up at the top, they'll keep Goku rotating between the lanes, and they'll push down here.
I love Roll20 so much right now. Detainment Strike, no, it must not be online, not even needed here. So this is the first team, I feel like, in all phases that we've ever seen go for a keep above all else with the 10 spike. Think about it. I've been so sad that we haven't had people forcing keeps in for the first time. Granted, there's no boss to bait them into going for the boss, but I am so happy that Roll20 is just like, what if we just end?
They even
this is
the
beautiful.
Dragonite, and they're just going to core.
They just go answer to us. And now if they end up wiping, as long as they don't all in on this fight, they need to go for the core directly or back away. Right now, Goku's the one tanking. Oh, I absolutely. It's like they're trying to steal my own heart right now. They're just everything they can do.
Gust into Twilight Dream. This will be the end of Buds. Oh, Crystal Aegis buys some time for that, but there is roots underneath that. Nubarak goes down. So does Buds. It's a 2-for-2 trade out.
So let's talk about what they did really wrong on the side of Roll20, because it was like, oh, this is what I wanted to see. You don't stop with this type of call. Again, you have to all in because your opponents, your death timers are so short, it doesn't really matter. It's all about the experience. Do I give them too much experience? We see Roll20 walking away with still full level. They could have sacrificed that with the advantage they have, and it'd be totally fine. There's no Mule on the other side of the table. Conveniently, Nazebo no longer has that option, so it's just going to be Malfurion. We see that he doesn't have it. So you all in, and you get the core to 50. Then when you get to core to 50, the entire game, you just wait for the double. There's more mercs on bottom than every other lane. You just wait until they go, you know what, we'd like to do something on the map. And Roll20 goes, we'd like you to respond to these 3 things going to your core right now, because if you don't, we're going to win this game. And that is how you play it the rest of the time. With 20% or 30% that they left on there, like now with the 80 mark, it's a 100%, 80% no difference when you're even in death.
Yeah, it seemed more like Roll20 genuinely believed like they could end the game if they got the right amount of picks.
Yeah.
But those respawn timers are so short for Even in Death at that
There's
point
no world.
that it's just more advantageous to recognize that. In the long run, you're probably just going to lose everybody. So instead, try to get the core down as far as you can. Just all in on it. You still have all of your forts up. And so you will be able to get the pressure back and going.
That's just one of those moments of like growing pains that we talk about that you can see where like you respect that Roll20 is doing something that they've never done, at least on an actual HGC game, right? They haven't displayed this, what if we just keep grouping and sieging and pressuring out and not letting you get the things that you want? And I love it. It's a huge case of just what if we don't? Left and right, you know? It's assuming your opponent wants you to do one thing and you're just like, well, we're not going to. We're going to force group and play the game a little bit different than you expect us to.
Speaking of playing things a little bit different, going back to the Malthael build for Even in Death, getting Inevitable End is, I think we talked about this before, the cooldown reduction, it was reduced with the last one, but in this case, it kind of works the same way as trying to dodge maybe a cocoon or something else, trying to make sure that once he goes into Tormented Souls, he can use that and be unstoppable versus something like, you know, Gorge. Just trying to make sure that he can get Tormented Souls off, hit a lot of people, start to get his self-healing going. Justin is going to get the Dragon Knight. There goes the Gust again into the Twilight Dream.
Yeah, but they have to hit Ariel if they're going to be able to stop that. Otherwise, Glaron gets an Aegis, he gets the heals, and he survives. That's 2 kills now for Roll20 with a solid rebuttal after that opening to the fight. They now got the 16 talent heroes with the 2 level. They're going for GG's. I don't know how to tell them this, but they can't end the game this time either.
Here we go.
This is so risky.
Goku nearly walked up with that Brush Talker speed boost to get a drag. Gets it!
They need this.
Long range drag on Frozen X.
They have to kill Frozen X here.
Battery's gonna go down too.
Wow, if they die! They get it. All right, so now it's realistic for them. They aren't worried about the Nazeebo single target damage. I mean, think about how fast he rips through this Dragon Knight. The shielding there. Now, even in death, not even diving past the Dragon Knight. Doesn't matter. That's going to be it here. GG over to Roll20. Take game 2.
Dominant fashion. Do Roll20 win game number 2 on Dragonshire? Another favorite for Roll20. Roll20 trying to show the new Malthael meta, but this Stitches Falstad seems to be the new hot for Roll20. They've got their trends that they like to draft.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's going to probably be unstoppable for a long while until somebody in North America manages to figure it out. But for now, they're just making easy work of even in death in that game. But I still high praise of the changes. I feel like even in death, one thing I did expect a little bit more out of them at the end there is like to not risk the Nazeebo and to not risk the Anubarak. They had the right mentality of you don't want them to move in for free. That means you should be expecting at least 1 spider rotation onto the Dragon Knight, a single target spider. Like, he is the best anti-Dragon Knight character in the game. Dragon and Garden, which RIP we don't have as a hero pool, but he's very good at eating through those HPs. Zagar is actually another hero who's very good at and underestimated. So you can't end that early. A Dragon Knight does nothing early on. It gets front walls, Gilly. That was a front wall level Dragon Knight. So to be able to move into the game and end there, the risks taken on the side of being in death, I wish they would have toned it back. But it's also like, let's be honest here, you're still miles behind in that game. I can see you just going like, let's go on to the next one. Like, try to get those kills, obviously, but then just being like, they deserved it. Just take the game. We'll go to game 3.
Yeah, they had such a massive lead that really the only good thing was that they didn't lose earlier on in that push. But otherwise than that, they took such core damage early on that it did seem like such a mountain to climb to get back. But even in death aren't out of it yet. They'll have one more chance after this break. We'll head into game number 3.